Hello, I'm Advocate Sports columnist Scott Rabalais, and welcome to our first video report leading up to the college football playoff national championship game between LSU and Clemson, sponsored by Hancock Whitney Bank. As I'm recording this video, about 1 week from right now, LSU and Clemson are going to be battling in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome for the national championship. Right now, there wasn't much going on Monday. The Tigers are not practicing on Monday. They're not practicing again on Tuesday. They won't hit the field again until Wednesday before heading down to New Orleans to wrap up their preparations in the Crescent City on Friday. But that doesn't mean there aren't some things to talk about. And Monday saw the announcements by a lot of players around the country, whether they were going to stay in school or head out to the NFL draft, make themselves eligible for the draft. Tua Tagovailoa, the Alabama quarterback, was the biggest name among those. So it got me thinking about LSU players, LSU juniors, who may be coming back or may be deciding to leave for the NFL draft in April. LSU has a very large junior class this year, more than 30 players. Players who've been with the program for 3 years, who've been transfers or just came in from other schools. So it's quite a large group by normal standards. So we'll look at some of those names now. Chief among them, you have to say two guys you really expect to go, three rather, you expect to go off the top of the bat. Linebacker Caleb Chesson projects to be a first-round draft pick. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson, of course, that trio of LSU wide receivers who've had such a tremendous season. He looks like he could be a first-rounder as well. And so does safety Grant Delpit, the Thorpe Award winner and All-American. Don't expect him back for his senior year. Another player who I don't think anyone expected going into the season could possibly decide to leave early for the NFL draft, but I think there's a good chance it might at this point, is running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Before the season, you thought he might be supplanted by one of the freshmen in the starting role, like Tyrion Davis-Price or John Emery. He ended up having an all-SEC season, rushed for well over 1,200 yards. It's been looking good in practice. Looks like he'll be healthy for the game against Clemson. But it might be his last game for LSU. I think the former Catholic High star is going to be headed to the NFL, although he might be a second-day pick in the draft. Some other players who may not go, I think. Todd Harris, who was injured in the season, the safety, I would think he'll be back. Jacoby Stevens, I'm going to say he's coming back, though he maybe could go. I think Jacoby Stevens will be back for his junior year. Patrick Queen, the linebacker, I think will also return. Now let's talk about the tight ends. Thad Moss, of course, doesn't really need the money. His dad, Randy Moss, of course, had a long, lucrative career in the NFL. I think Thad Moss is likely to be back, and I'll say Neil Farrell will be back. Glenn Logan, the defensive lineman, I think he'll go, even though he might be down the list in terms of draft picks, as it might be concerned. Of course, a lot of seniors are going too. Joe Burrow, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback for LSU, certainly appears like he's going to be the first, maybe the second pick, but it looked like he'll be the first pick in the NFL draft in April. And then we also expect Christian Fulton, the cornerback, who's a senior, to also go in the first round. So a lot of Tigers, it could be a record year for LSU in the NFL draft in terms of players selected, players who go in the first round. And a lot of them are going to be juniors. Of course, we have to wait and see. I think we won't see any LSU players make any announcements before the championship game, you wouldn't expect. But in the days after, we're going to see who decides to stay and who decides to turn pro at that point. So we'll have more video reports every day leading up to the national championship game. So follow us here at theadvocate.com for all the latest. Thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of Hancock Whitney Bank.